Good afternoon, Wolfpack, and welcome to lesson 2.3 on rotations. Let's go ahead and get started right away. Rotations are a type of transformation that go along with translations and rotations, and they preserve angles and distance. A rotation is a transformation around point P, which is the center of rotation. The angle formed by the pre-image and image is called the angle of rotation. We will automatically travel counterclockwise unless you're told to go clockwise. So you will always move in a counterclockwise motion unless it specifically says to go clockwise. Okay, so counterclockwise, this is my coordinate grid, and I'm going to start here. I'm going to go in a counterclockwise pattern. There are 4 rules for rotations around the origin on a coordinate plane. Okay, as you remember, an ordered pair is XY. Okay, so our ordered pair is always XY. If we're going to travel in a 90-degree counterclockwise rotation, the X and the Y numbers switch places, and the first number gets a new sign. Okay? A 180-degree rotation, they stay in their same exact spots, but they both get a new sign. A 270-degree rotation, again, just like 90 degrees, they switch spots, and the number that's in the Y spot gets a new sign. So Y negative X. And a 360-degree rotation, they stayed exactly the same. It means it landed exactly back where it started. One way to remember that is a 90-degree counterclockwise rotation, okay, is that the X and Y switch places. In a 180-degree rotation, let me move this out a little bit. Okay, in a 180-degree rotation, the negative X and negative Y, they stay in the same spot. 270-degree rotation, again, they switch spots. And 360, they are in the same spot. You just have to remember the sign differences. The first one gets a new sign. Here, they both get a new sign. 270, the second one gets a new spot. Okay? And that's based off this model right here. If I was rotating this point into quadrant number 2, if you look at quadrant number 2, this is the x-axis, and then this is the y-axis. So the x-axis is negative, the y-axis is positive. And so that's why 90 degrees. I drew that too low, apologize. Just going to erase that. That's why 90 degrees gets the negative sign in the X spot, but it still has the same sign in the Y spot. And that's definitely probably going to be a little confusing. I'll explain it more in class. It's not that the value will be negative. It's just that the value gets a negative sign applied to it. And we'll go over that more in class. So determine the quadrant the image will map into. Letter A, a figure in the first quadrant after a 180-degree rotation counterclockwise. So on your paper, I want you to draw a coordinate grid. Just draw an X and Y axis. It's in the first quadrant. This is quadrant number 1. This is quadrant number 2, quadrant number 3, quadrant number 4. I want you to go ahead and make sure they're marked. Your figure is going to start in the first quadrant. So quadrant 1. It's going to rotate 180 degrees counterclockwise. So it's going to go here, that's 90 degrees, and then down another quadrant to 180 degrees. So it is in quadrant 3. Okay, quadrant 3. Do the same thing for letter B. A figure in the third quadrant after a 90-degree clockwise rotation. So draw your coordinate grid. Your y-axis, your x-axis, 1, 2, 3, and quadrant 4. It's in the third quadrant. So it's right here. Remember that quadrant 1 is always this one. So it's the positive x's and the positive y's. And we always go counterclockwise. So if you can't remember which one 1, 2, 3, and 4 is, hopefully you can at least remember number 1 and then go from there. Because we always go counterclockwise unless it says clockwise. So anyway, a figure in the third quadrant, which we have notated with this red point right here, and it's going to move 90 degrees clockwise. So it's going to go up. It's going to go clockwise. So now it's right here. And that would be quadrant 2. Okay? So 90 degrees moves one whole quadrant, 180 moves 2 quadrants, 273 quadrants, and 360, it's back where it started. Number 2, draw the image of triangle RST under a 90-degree rotation. Well, the first thing you need to do is write the rule, X, Y. Excuse me, pardon me. X, Y. And under a 90-degree rotation, if you look back at your rules, a 90-degree rotation is that X and Y switch places, and the first number gets a new sign. So the rule is negative y, x. Negative y, x. So you need to figure out where is R, where is S, and where is T. R is currently at negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. S is at negative 1, 3. And T is at negative 4, 1. So then we're going to apply the transformation. We're going to switch the spots of the coordinates, and then the first one is going to get a new sign. So R prime is 3, negative 4. I just switched these two numbers around, 3, negative 4. But now the first one needs a negative sign applied to it. So since it was positive, now it's negative. So it's negative 3, negative 4. S is negative 1, 3. So S prime, we're going to switch them, is now 3, negative 1. Just switched them around. But then I have to apply the negative sign to the number in the first spot. So it's negative 3, negative 1. And T prime would be 1, negative 4. And again, I need to apply a negative sign to the first spot. Now let's think about this logically. This triangle is in quadrant 2 right now. It's going to move 90 degrees. It's a 90-degree rotation. We always go counterclockwise unless we're told otherwise. So it should end up in this quadrant down here. Well, this quadrant down here is the negative x quadrant and the negative y quadrant. And I know I made those unnecessarily, but I just want to show you negative x, negative y. So all of our coordinates should be negative x, negative y. And if you check, negative 3, negative 4, negative 3, negative 1, negative 1, negative 4. So what we did just now does make sense. So we're going to go ahead and plot those points. Negative 3, negative 4 is R prime. Negative 3, negative 1 is S prime. And then negative 1, negative 4 is T prime. And then you're going to connect your points. And there's your 90-degree rotation. So our coordinates make sense. The direction we're supposed to move it makes sense. Everything makes sense. We're going to do it one more time. It says quadrilateral ABCD has vertices of A02, B14, C42, and D31. What are the coordinates of the image of quadrilateral ABCD under a 270-degree rotation? So A is 02, B is 14, C is 42, and D is 31. They gave those to us. We're going to apply the 270-degree rotation, which is XY. 270, they switch places. So now it's y, x, and the second one gets a new sign. So it's the opposite of whatever it was supposed to be. So now we have a prime. They're going to switch locations, so 2, 0. And technically the second number, which is 0, should get a new sign. But there's no such thing as -0, so it's going to stay 2, 0. B prime, they're going to switch places, so now they're 4, 1. And the second number is going to get a new sign, so this is now a -1. C prime, they're going to switch places. 2, 4. 4 gets the new sign, so now it's -4. And then D prime, 1, 3. 3 gets the new sign. Now, let's look at this logically again. A, B, C, D is in quadrant 1. When it undergoes a 270-degree rotation, quadrant 2 is 90, quadrant 3 is 180, quadrant 4 is 270 degrees. It should end up in quadrant 4. Now, quadrant 4 has positive x values and negative y values. And all of our 4 coordinates, if you look at them really carefully, they all have positive x values and they all have negative y values or 0. So we should be good, but we're going to go ahead and plot it to make sure we did okay. So 2, 0 would be A prime. 4, -1 is B prime. 2, -4 is C prime. And then 1, -3 is D prime. And then you're going to plot your points. Obviously a little bit straighter than I did. And there you go. Here's your rotation. So you have to apply the transformation and then plot the points. We're going to go ahead and stop right then. Right there, we're going to do examples 4 and 5 in class. I cannot stress enough, you will have to know these rules. You will not be able to pass this section of the test if you do not know these rules. So I really want you to work hard to commit these rules to your brain. Okay? You need to know them. You must. So please do everything you can. We'll practice these a lot. We'll reference them a lot, but you will have to take the time to memorize them. Hope you have a great day, Wolfpack, and I will see you next class.